Hey guys, so the main thing I think to talk about with this chapter is we dive into Nagant's life when she had served as basically the sword of the Hero Commission, the person who pretty much was responsible for dealing with everyone and every single person, every single organization that the Hero Commission had felt was a threat. She would pretty much be the one to come in and eliminate them. And there's the obvious things to talk about with this, like how the orders she carried out in a lot of ways does in fact mirror a lot of covert government actions across the world and even at home, of like taking out threats before they happen, and how we as a society don't know just how much of that has gone on without us knowing. But the thing I really want to focus on is the idea that even that the targets that she was ordered to take out, at least from my understanding of it, are basically are former heroes and vigilantes, people who the people who pretty much were acting in heroic ways, but pretty much just weren't licensed. And the reason why this aspect is important is because it not only shows the Hero Commission's fear of losing its grip on society, but by targeting even vigilantes, those without hero licenses, it still just wanted to help. It shows just how much they also feared hero society itself changing, and just the idea of heroes having freedom from their control. Like, I've been I've been reading the spin-off manga of My Hero Academia, Vigilantes, on and off, and the more I read of it, the more I realize the series is kind of a glimpse into where the world of My Hero Academia needs to be. The world of heroes needs to become more like the world of vigilantes, where the government doesn't have complete control over the hero population, and heroes themselves are allowed to operate with more freedom and autonomy than they were allowed. And don't get me wrong, while there is a small argument to be made that allowing that freedom could just as easily birth like greater danger, at least in that situation, the heroes would also have the freedom to act of their own will and discretion. Then if you were to rebuild those very same foundations and systems again, that would give rise to something honestly worse than Shigaraki and even All for One. Like, I know it's a little bit hyperbolic to say, but in a lot of ways, if these systems, let's just say for example, Izuku manages to pretty much defeat Shigaraki, defeat All for One, and that brings an end to the cycle. Yes, it brings an end to that cycle. This is the cycle of One for All and All for One. But if these systems are rebuilt, then the government will just end up creating a villain even more horrific than more. If these systems are built afterwards, after their defeat, then that will just rebuild a system worse. That will just end up giving rise and birth to a villain worse than Shigaraki and worse than All for One. Like an entirely new legacy, an entirely new like cycle of villainy and hatred will just rebirth itself all fucking over again. And that's in some ways probably what the government wants. But the thing is, if they rebuild that, it would eventually lead to something that it would eventually lead to a situation where the next time something like the current events happen, society is not going to survive, and the damage will be completely beyond repair. So, yeah, sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent there. But even more than that, though, I feel having the greater freedom would also fix the problem of separating those who are actually heroes to those who are just in it for the fame. Like I feel just by not having these like hero licenses, these systems of like of basically treating heroes like a just a regular old job you would apply for. I feel just by doing that one simple thing, it would pretty much allow the idea of true heroism in order to give it would give rise to just the idea of true heroism, the idea of the individual, pretty much being the individual's heroism being judged on their merits alone and what they actually accomplish as heroes. And and it would just, like, again, separate those who are actual heroes from those who are just in it for the fame. Like, Horikoshi is really building upon the idea of how hero society cannot go back the way it was before. Otherwise, again, that would just end up repeating the cycle. But repeating recycle and all that, it doesn't. And the thing is, I'm not saying that the government doesn't have a role to play, but it needs to. I think if the government were to have a role in in whatever future hero society is built, it would be on a bit more of a from just that a bit of a more of a small managerial role, in the sense where the government would be taking care of the services of society rather than the heroes themselves. And I feel that that's kind of the idea of where hero society needs to be. It needs to be in a place where heroes can act with much greater freedom, and honestly, just people in general, I think, need to just be able to act in much greater freedom. Otherwise, again, I know I keep repeating myself, but it's just going to give rise to just greater threats. And yeah, Nagant is definitely giving Izuku the ultimate test of his resolve in this, in the last page of this chapter. When she pretty much targets, when she pretty much turns her gun on pretty much Chisaki, and because right now she's giving Izuku an ultimatum. Either you save Chisaki, someone who had previously been Izuku had previously been in contact with, but risked Nagant getting away, and as well as his hope of finding All for One, or capture Nagant, or capture Nagant now, but sacrifice Chisaki in the long run. And yeah, this is one of those times where I hope Horikoshi is smart enough to know not to give Izuku an out where he can both capture Nagant and save Chisaki, because frankly, on top of that just being the easy solution, I think it is important for Izuku to face situations where he has to make a choice, a singular choice, and not just a choice where he can do both pretty much one or the other. I feel that if he does, I know the whole idea of this is to give Izuku the, like, making him the greatest hero, but if he just does that, it's just gonna come across as too easy. And just the element of making difficult choices is going to be completely lost on him at that point, I think. And frankly, if that is going to be the scenario that plays out, this is something I was actually worried about the most when the concept of the various quirks stored within Unfurl was revealed, is the idea that it would just all come very too easily to him at that point. And honestly, how I would prefer this play out is that Izuku and how ideally I would like this to play out is that Izuku saves Chisaki, and Chisaki would be willing to cooperate with him, and that actually, and in some ways that does seem to be the setup Horikoshi is going with. I just hope he follows through on it rather than the idea, the other idea I just laid out of Izuku just having a pretty much easy solution to both scenarios. That's kind of just my whole thoughts process on this. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll, and be sure to hit the bell for notifications, and share the video around, guys. Dead and That Enemy, signing off. Later.